You've been carrying too much. But not forever. There comes a night when your body whispers what your mind has ignored. A slow ache in your chest. A quiet noise behind your thoughts. A fatigue that isn't just tiredness but soul weight. And tonight, you listened. That's why you're here. Not to solve, not to fix, but to finally rest. There is no test to pass. No version of you that must show up perfect. You are already enough simply because you are still here. Still breathing. Still hoping, even if just a little. Somewhere along the way, life taught you to stay alert, to stay ready, to be everything for everyone. You did your best, with your heart wide open and your shoulders always braced. But now, there is no more to brace for. This moment asks nothing of you but presence. Let the rest fall away. Let the noise hush like dusk settling on a quiet lake. You're not broken. You're just full. And when something is full, it doesn't need fixing. It needs emptying. Gently. Without force. This is not a lecture, not a lesson. This is a wooden temple in the middle of the forest. And you've just stepped through a door you didn't know you needed. It opened with no sound. No lock. Just the weight of your longing leaning softly against it. You are welcome here. Not in the way the world welcomes you with conditions, performance, approval, but in the way the moon welcomes the night, silently, unconditionally. This is your retreat now, your inward journey. The world has asked much of you lately, too much, and you answered again and again, even when you had nothing left, even when no one saw the effort. But you saw, and now so do I. You have not failed because you are tired. You are tired because you've tried to carry it all, and you were never meant to. The Buddha once said, just as a candle cannot burn without fire, man cannot live without a spiritual life. You have been surviving, but you were born for more than survival. You were born for stillness, for beauty, for the sacred rhythm of being, not always doing, not always proving, just being. Tonight, we walk a different path, not one of achievement but of return. Return to the breath, to the self, to the soft light inside you that has not gone out, only hidden. In these next moments, you'll hear stories from the old world, from monks, mountains, streams, and stars. But more than that, you will feel a deep remembering. A remembering of who you were before the world named you, before the worries, before the noise. Zen does not ask you to believe. It only asks you to be here, like the sound of wind through bamboo, like the falling of snow on temple roofs. No need to strive, no need to earn. Just breathe and listen. The story begins not with a bang, but with a bow. A quiet invitation to sit beside a lantern and hear your own soul speak through ancient words. Tonight is not for information. It is for transformation. The kind that happens when nothing is forced and everything is allowed. So let your eyes soften. Let your body melt into the bed, into the floor, into whatever holds you now. And feel that deeper holding beneath it all. The way earth holds tree roots. The way the sky holds clouds without asking them to change. This is the holding you've craved. Not to be fixed, but to be felt. Not to be saved, but to be seen. And you are. You are seen without judgment, without shame, without the need to explain why you're tired or why your mind runs at night. This temple has no walls, only silence and story and breath. Tonight, we light no candles, only the quiet flame that still lives in you. And as it flickers gently, a door has opened, the one you didn't know you needed. And now that you're through it, there is nowhere to go. Just stay right here with me, with the stories that are waiting, with the stillness that has missed you. We begin not by doing, but by undoing. Not by climbing, but by sinking. Sinking back into the center of yourself. The breath slows, the mind softens, and the path unfolds not ahead of you, but within you. No more resistance. Only return. Only rest. And so we begin. Softly now. The story will speak. Let it guide you. Let it hold you. Let go. Let go. Let go. There are wounds that life gives you. Sudden. Unexpected. Like the snap of a branch in a silent forest. A word you didn't see coming. a goodbye that arrived too soon, a dream that unraveled quietly while you were still trying to believe in it. These are the first arrows, and they hurt. They strike without warning and leave you breathless, shaken, split open. But the Buddha, with a quiet gaze that saw beyond time, told a story of a man who was shot with an arrow. He collapsed to the earth, wounded, shocked, in pain. But before he could be treated, he reached for another and pierced himself again. This was the second arrow, not from the world, but from within. The arrow of anger, the arrow of why me, the arrow of guilt, shame, blame, and all the ways the mind tightens around pain until suffering becomes a habit. The first arrow is life. The second is our reaction. You've been hit before, haven't you? Not just by what happened, but by what came after. The stories you told yourself in the dark. The pressure you placed on your own heart. The voice that whispered, "You should have known better. You could have done more. This is your fault." But tonight, you get to see clearly, gently. The second arrow was never required. It was learned. In silence. In childhood. In moments when being soft didn't feel safe. So you armored. You overthought. You blamed yourself to make sense of what didn't make sense. And you've carried that habit like a secret weight ever since. But here, now, in this stillness, you can lay it down. Let me ask you, when the first wound came, were you kind to yourself? Did you breathe into the pain and hold it like a child? Or did you tighten? Rush? Speak harshly to the one person who most needed gentleness, yourself? It's okay if you did. So many of us do. We were taught to be strong, to move on, to analyze instead of feel. But strength is not resistance, and healing is not force. Healing is exhale. It's surrender. It's seeing the arrow in your own hand and choosing to drop it. Can you feel how long you've been bracing? The tension behind your eyes, the grip in your chest. You've been trying to stay in control. But peace does not live in control. It lives in release. Close your eyes now and breathe with me. Slow, deep, kind. Inhale, as if drawing in the scent of old temple wood. Exhale, as if letting go of a lifetime of holding. Again and again, until even your breath begins to trust you. This moment asks nothing of you but honesty. So tell the truth. What second arrow have you been living with? What self-punishment? What loop of thought? What harsh whisper has kept you from resting? Maybe it's the belief that you failed, or that you're behind, or that you are too much or never enough. Maybe it's the replay of an old memory, a mistake, a regret, a silence that lingers. Whatever it is, you don't need to fix it right now. You only need to notice. Because what we notice softens. What we name loses power. And what we allow can finally pass through. Let's go back for a moment. Not to stir pain, but to liberate it. Can you recall a time when something hurt you? A moment when life's first arrow struck? Feel that memory rise, gently. No need to dive in, just notice its shape. Now ask, what did I do to myself after that? Did I judge? Blame? Shut down? Shrink? That was the second arrow. And tonight, you are allowed to remove it. Not with force, but with mercy. Imagine the wound as a soft light in your body, glowing, waiting, not broken, just held too long. Place your hand there. Yes, even in your mind, and whisper, I forgive you for not knowing. I forgive you for surviving the only way you knew how. I forgive you for the second arrow. Let those words sink into the ache, like warm tea on a cold night. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is returning to the self beneath the wound, the self who never stopped wanting love. The Buddha taught us that suffering is not in the event, but in the clinging. And so, you do not need to cling to the second arrow anymore. You do not need to stay at war with yourself. Peace begins when we stop arguing with what already happened. Let that truth settle like snow on an untouched field. There's nothing more to fight. You can stop now. You are still worthy even with your past. You are still whole even in your healing. You are still enough even when you're soft. So soften. Let the second arrow fall. Let it melt back into the earth like something that no longer belongs in you. And with its release, feel the space that returns. like a window you didn't know was boarded shut, now open to the night breeze. Can you feel it? That small sense of freedom in your chest? That's what it feels like to forgive yourself. That's what it feels like to breathe without the second arrow lodged in your ribs. You are not the wound. You are the healing. You are not the thought. You are the witness. You are not the judgment. You are the mercy that remains when the judgment falls silent. Tonight, you lay down the habit of self-blame. You lay down the sword you've pointed inward for so long you forgot it was there. You've done enough. You've tried enough. You've been enough this whole time. And now, you rest. The second arrow is no longer needed. You've outgrown it. You are safe. You are seen. You are forgiven. Breathe into the freedom. Breathe into the softness. And if your heart is ready, even just a little whisper to yourself, I am allowed to be at peace. Say it again, so the walls of your mind hear it. I am allowed to be at peace. This is the practice. Not striving, not perfection, but gentle return. Again and again, you've taken the arrow out, and now the wound can breathe. You don't need to rush healing. You only need to stop interrupting it. So stay. Stay here with this breath, this moment, this mercy. Let it wash through you, like the river that forgets nothing but holds no grudge. Soft now, we continue. The night is still young, and your soul is still listening. Let the next story carry you deeper into the quiet you never knew you needed. You've heard so much today. Spoken, nodded, explained. You've carried conversations, expectations, and all the silent roles you didn't ask to play but did out of habit or love. And now the cup is full. Not the kind you hold in your hand, but the one in your chest. The unseen cup inside your mind that holds all the noise you forgot to put down. Plans, opinions, self-protections, the constant hum of needing to know, so much knowing, so much thinking. But wisdom does not enter a cup that is already full. There's an old story. From the time of temples and ink-black robes, a student once came to a Zen master, eager, restless, his heart hungry for answers. He bowed deeply and began to speak. He spoke of his studies, his spiritual efforts, all he had read, all he had tried. He spoke and spoke and spoke, until even the wind outside the temple grew still to listen. The master said nothing. He simply poured tea. The cup filled quietly, smoothly, and then overflowed. Still, the master poured. The tea ran down the sides, onto the table, to the floor. "Stop!" the student cried. "It is full. No more will go in." The master looked at him softly, without judgment. "You are like this cup," he said, "so full of your own opinions, you cannot receive my teaching. Empty your cup." The room fell silent, and so did the student. You've been that student too, haven't you? Trying, searching, hoping that if you just knew enough, did enough, understood enough, peace would arrive. But peace does not arrive through effort. It arrives through space. And space begins with emptying. You have taken in so much, from screens, from people, from your own inner voice that never seems to quiet. But tonight, you are safe to let it go. Let the thoughts spill, gently, like tea over the edge of the cup. There is no need to hold it all. Not now, not here. You don't need more answers. You need fewer assumptions, fewer internal debates, fewer imaginary rehearsals. Let the cup empty. Let the mind soften. Wisdom is not what fills you. It is what remains when you've poured everything else out. You don't have to be right tonight. You don't have to know. You don't have to fix. You just have to stop pouring more into what is already spilling. There is humility in emptying, a quiet, sacred pause that invites something deeper to enter. Not knowledge, but knowing. Not information, but insight. Not noise, but stillness. And so, you are invited now to pour it out. The day, the weight, the pressure to have it together. Let it fall like warm tea over the edge of the cup, down your shoulders, off your back, into the earth that knows what to do with old things. Breathe. Inhale and feel the cup fill. Exhale and feel it empty. Again and again, until your breath becomes the bowl, and the bowl becomes still. You've spoken enough. You've tried enough. Now, become the silence that listens. The student in the story came seeking wisdom, but he had no space for it. And neither do we when we're too full of what we think we know. There are moments when being wise means being quiet. Not because you have nothing to say, but because you are finally ready to hear something greater than your own thoughts. What if the thing you've been seeking was waiting for you to get quiet enough to feel it? What if the answers were never out there but always inside, beneath the surface noise? Let the cup empty. Let the words rest. Let the noise within you settle like tea leaves at the bottom of the pot. Nothing more to swirl. Nothing more to solve. Just steep. Just be. When the cup is empty, there is space for presence. And in presence, everything that truly matters begins to rise. Compassion, clarity, peace. Not forced, not chased, just revealed. The truth is, you've known this all along. You've just forgotten in the busyness of becoming. But tonight, you are unbecoming. Unbecoming the tension. Unbecoming the tight grip on control. Unbecoming the voice that says you must always be on. You're not here to be impressive. You're here to be real. And the real you is quiet enough to hear stars whisper, still enough to feel the pulse of the sacred in your own ribs. There is no pressure here. No right answer. No perfect silence. Just the simple truth. Emptying is healing. Let your head sink deeper into the pillow. Let your spine melt. Let your thoughts slow like a river meeting still water. You are allowed to be nothing for a while. Nothing but breath. Nothing but being. Nothing but open. Because an open cup is an invitation to the divine. And the divine does not shout. It whispers. And whispers are heard only in stillness. So hush now. Not in punishment but in peace. Let the monk in you bow quietly. Let the master in you pour without fear. Let the student in you receive without resistance. The more you empty, the more you feel. And the more you feel, the more you remember how sacred this life is. How soft the soul becomes when it finally has space. And how sleep, true sleep, does not come when the body collapses but when the mind unclenches. Tonight, you unclench. You allow. You release. You remember the beauty of being hollow and whole at the same time. This moment is your empty cup. It waits for nothing. It asks for nothing. It simply is. And in that isness, you begin to rest. Let the tea spill. Let the stories rest. Let the noise fade. You are not the cup. You are the space it holds. You are not the thought. You are the awareness beneath it. And you are not what you've gathered. You are what remains when all else is poured away. Soft now. Sleep leans in like steam rising from a warm bowl. Let it come. Let it carry you deeper. The next story waits, but it is in no rush. You have emptied enough for now. And what a gift it is to feel so light. There are places in your life where you feel stuck. Moments where no matter how hard you try, you cannot move forward. The path disappears. The will is tired, and the body feels like stone. You've tried, pushed, motivated yourself. You've read the books, listened to advice, whispered quiet prayers into your pillow, but still, no movement. Just this place, this breath, this stillness you did not ask for. Tonight, you are not here to be fixed. You are here to be sat beside, like the monk on the mountain path, with the horse that would not move. Let me tell you the story, not to solve your stillness but to soften it, to show you that even your stuckness has wisdom. It begins high in the mountains, a narrow trail, cold air, a sky made of silence. A horse stands frozen in the middle of the path. Its legs are tense, eyes wide, breath short. No rope, no whip, no word can make it move. People gather. They yell, they tug at its reins. They circle behind it with impatience in their mouths. But the horse will not move. It does not move for command. It does not move for fear. It simply stands, as if it is waiting for something no one else can see. And then a monk appears, robes fluttering in the wind, face calm, steps slow. He says nothing. He does not pull. He does not shout. He does not even try. He just sits, right beside the horse. In stillness, minutes pass. then more. The mountain holds them both in silence. And then, quietly, without force, without warning, the horse begins to walk. One step, then another, then another. The monk does not celebrate. He simply stands and continues walking too. This story was never about the horse. It is about you, about the parts of you that have stopped, frozen on your path. And the question, what would happen if you stopped fighting your stillness? What if you stopped trying to pull yourself forward and just sat beside the part of you that refuses to move? Not in judgment, not in shame, but in love. You are not broken because you feel stuck. Stuckness is not failure. It is pause. And pause is not the opposite of progress. It is part of it. Sometimes your soul knows before your mind does. It knows you're not ready to take the next step, or that the path ahead is not quite yours, and so it halts, like the horse, strong, alive, and still. This stillness is not weakness. It is deep intelligence, the kind that waits, listens, feels, before it moves. You've spent much of your life trying to force motion, trying to keep up, trying to fix whatever feels slow inside you. But tonight, you are allowed to do something different. You are allowed to sit beside the part of you that will not go, to breathe with it, to keep it company. Not to make it move, but to let it feel that it is not alone. There is peace in that. There is healing in the unhurried presence of your own kindness. Close your eyes and take a breath for the places inside you that feel frozen. Breathe in as if sitting down beside them. Breathe out as if whispering, I'm here. I'm not leaving. No one ever taught you that stillness can be sacred. That being stuck might be your soul catching its breath, or waiting for the right direction to reveal itself. You are not lazy. You are not lost. You are in a moment of listening. And even if it lasts a while, it is not wasted. No flower blooms because it was shouted at. No river flows because it was pushed. Everything in nature moves when the time is right. And so will you. But for now, let stillness be your practice. Not doing, not escaping, not proving, just being with what is. If there is fear, sit beside it. If there is sadness, sit beside it. If there is numbness or confusion or anger, sit beside that too. Be like the monk, unafraid of the moment, and gentle with the frozen horse inside you. There is a soft strength in not turning away, a quiet power in not needing to control, and a deep peace in letting things be what they are without rush. Can you feel it? The breath softening, the chest loosening, even the weight you couldn't name begins to feel a little less sharp, because nothing resists when it feels accepted, and that includes you. You don't have to make sense of your stillness. You don't have to figure it out before you can rest. You are allowed to lie here, unmoving, and still be growing, like seeds in the dark, like stars in a sky you cannot yet see. Let the world rush without you. Let the noise pass you by. You are not missing anything. You are meeting yourself, and that is the most important movement of all. Tonight, you do not need answers. You need presence. You need a silence that does not try to solve, only to sit with you. Breathe again. Feel the way your body knows how to be here, without effort, without performance. Just breath, just bone, just being. There is no shame in pausing, no guilt in stillness. The horse on the path taught us that. It moved only when it felt safe, when it felt seen, when someone cared enough to wait instead of push. Be that someone for yourself. Wait without hurry. Stay without judgment. And in time, when the soul is ready, you will rise. Not with strain, not with pressure, but with the ease of something that knows where it's going, even if you don't yet. So rest now, with all the stuckness, with all the waiting, with all the not knowing. Let it be here. Let it breathe beside you. Nothing to change, nothing to fix. Just presence. The monk didn't move the horse. He moved with the horse when it was ready. And tonight, you are both the monk and the horse, the witness and the one being witnessed, the stillness and the life waiting beneath it. So be still. Let the world fall away. Let time soften. Let even your thoughts begin to drift like snow on a quiet slope. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are exactly where you are meant to be. Even here, especially here. Breathe with it, bow to it, sleep beside it. The movement will come, but not now, not yet. For now, you've done the hardest thing. You've stopped, and that is sacred. You've broken things, haven't you? Not just objects, but moments, relationships, trust, pieces of yourself you once thought unshakable. You've made mistakes you wish you hadn't, said things you wish you could unsay, held on to things that should have been let go long ago. And sometimes, quietly, you carry shame, not always on the surface, but deep within, like a weight tucked behind your ribs. A bruise no one sees but you feel every time you try to breathe fully. Tonight, we enter that place, gently, with care, because even sorrow needs someone to sit beside it. Let me tell you a story about a monk and a bowl. It begins in the hush of morning, before bells ring, before robes shuffle across stone. The sun has just begun to stretch its arms across the temple, and in the stillness, a monk rises, young, devoted, eager to do things right. He moves through his duties with quiet hands, lighting incense, filling water, polishing what must be polished. And then, as he carries the sacred bowl, his hand slips. It falls, a small sound, but not small to him. Porcelain meets stone, a shattering, a stillness. He kneels, heart pounding, fingers trembling. This bowl was old, handmade, passed from teacher to student through generations. It is no ordinary object. It is memory, ritual, prayer, and now it is pieces. The monk does not cry, but something in him sinks, breaks with it. He gathers the shards, wraps them in cloth, and hides them, not out of disrespect but fear. Fear of judgment, fear of having failed, fear of not being enough to be forgiven. Days pass, the bowl is gone, and yet not. Because when you hide something broken, you don't bury it, you carry it, silently, everywhere. The master notices, not the missing bowl but the heaviness in the monk's steps. And so, one morning, he calls him forth. His voice is calm, clear, like the ringing of a distant bell. "Where is the bowl?" The monk hesitates, swallows, and finally lays the cloth at the master's feet. "I broke it," he says, barely a whisper. "I was afraid." The master kneels, unwraps the pieces, looks not with anger, but with softness. And then he smiles. "Let it return to the earth," he says. "Everything breaks. That is not the shame, only hiding it is." The monk weeps, not out of punishment but release. And the temple is silent, but for the sound of something heavier being laid down. Now breathe, because this story was never just about the monk or the bowl. It is about the part of you still hiding the pieces, the regret you've folded into your chest, the shame you've packed away in silence, the broken thing you hoped no one would notice, but you notice, and it has shaped how you walk, how you speak, how much softness you allow yourself to feel. And tonight, you are invited to stop hiding, not because what you did didn't matter, but because who you are matters more. Everyone breaks something, even the devoted, even the careful. Life is not a temple where nothing falls. It is a field where we drop things, trip, cut ourselves, and sometimes learn only by losing. You are not wrong for having broken the bowl. You are only tired from carrying its weight alone. Place it down now, gently, right here. There is no punishment, only presence. Let yourself remember without blame. Let yourself feel without fear. The truth is, the brokenness is not the end. It's the invitation. The Japanese have a tradition called kintsugi, the art of mending broken pottery with gold, not to hide the cracks, but to honor them, to show that what was once broken has been made more beautiful, not in spite of the damage, but because of it. You too can be mended with gold, not by erasing your past, but by holding it with grace. Every scar you carry is proof that you tried, that you felt, that you lived deeply enough for something to touch you. And that is not weakness, it is soul. So breathe now. Breathe for the bowl. Breathe for the monk. Breathe for the piece of you that feared it was unforgivable. You are not unforgivable. You are human. And being human means dropping things, breaking things, trying again with softer hands. The Master's voice echoes through time. Let it return to the earth, not to be discarded but to be received, to become soil for something new. What if your regret is the beginning of your compassion? What if your sorrow is the door to your wholeness? Let the broken thing return to the earth, not because it wasn't sacred but because it still is. Because all things once broken belong to the ground that holds them, and you, broken in your own ways, are still held by this night, by this breath, by this silence that asks nothing but truth. So speak the truth. Whisper it, if that's all you can do. I broke something. I was afraid. I've carried it too long. And then let it go. Not in rush, not in bitterness, but like a leaf falling from an old branch, like a bowl being laid in the soil. Soft, sacred, enough. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting. It means no longer needing to punish yourself for something you already mourned. The Master did not raise his voice. He did not shame. He saw. He understood. He welcomed the brokenness as part of the path. And so must you. Let the old guilt drip out of you. Let the memory remain, but not as a chain, as a teacher. Let the pieces of the bowl become seeds. Sleep beside them, and let them root in peace. Tonight, you are no longer hiding. Not from the past, not from yourself, not from the love still waiting to meet you in the light. The cracks in you are not defects. They are windows, places where the light gets in, and the story gets real. You are real, and that is the most beautiful thing you could ever be. No longer perfect, no longer untouched, but entirely alive. Let it return to the earth. Say it with me. Let it return to the earth. Let what you broke become what you learn. Let what you regret become what you forgive. Let what you feared become what you finally let go. Breathe again. Feel the way your body shifts when you no longer have to hold it all. The shoulders soften, the heart exhales, and something inside starts to glow where it once only ached. You've carried it far enough. Now let the night carry you. Let the ground receive you. Let sleep hold you with the same mercy the Master held the monk. You are forgiven, not because it didn't matter, but because you matter more. Soft now. The next story is near. But for now, rest in this one. With all its brokenness, with all its beauty, with all its peace, let it return to the earth, and let yourself finally sleep. There is a part of you that no one sees, a quiet ache that lives beneath your strength. It doesn't speak often, but when it does, it cries without sound, not for attention, not for pity, just for someone to sit beside it, without fixing, without asking it to change. You've carried this part for years, sometimes with pride, sometimes with shame, sometimes forgetting it exists until the night comes, and you feel something hollow underneath your skin. Grief, loneliness, the memory of being unseen when you needed to be held. This story is for that part of you, the small voice beneath the adult voice, the child still waiting to be loved as they are. Let me tell you about the boy in the temple. It was early evening. The sun had lowered itself like a monk bowing to the earth. The air was still. Lanterns were just beginning to glow like soft stars beneath the wooden beams. And somewhere, hidden in the far corner of the monastery, a boy was crying. He had not asked for help. He had not called out. He simply sat there, knees pulled to his chest, eyes full of what he could no longer hold in. No one knew why he wept. Maybe he missed his mother. Maybe someone had been unkind. Maybe he was overwhelmed by a world too large for such a small heart. But the reason didn't matter. What mattered was the monk who saw him. An elder monk, soft in step, soft in gaze, soft in soul. He did not speak. He did not kneel right away. He did not offer a solution. He simply approached slowly, and then sat beside the boy, not facing him, not staring, just there, side by side, two bodies, one silent offering. The boy cried. For minutes, maybe hours, and the monk stayed. No words, no teachings, just presence. Eventually, the boy's breathing softened, his shoulders lowered, and still, the monk said nothing. Because some wounds do not need to be spoken into, they need to be seen. Some sorrows do not want to be solved. They want to be felt without resistance. And some hearts will only come out of hiding when they know they will not be judged. That boy is still in you. That monk can be too. You were once that child, alone in the corner, trying not to be too much, trying not to need too much, trying to survive what you didn't yet know how to name. And maybe no one came to sit beside you. Maybe you learned to swallow your pain in silence, to smile when your soul was aching. Maybe you became strong because no one was strong for you. But tonight, that ends. Not the sorrow, but the silence around it. Because now, someone is here. I am here. With you. And more importantly, you are here. The you that knows how to sit with pain, with gentleness, with love, not to fix, but to finally say, you don't have to cry alone anymore. Close your eyes and imagine that corner, the wooden walls, the amber light, the boy curled into himself. Let your breath carry you there, softly, slowly, and then see yourself walk toward him, not as the adult who knows better, not as the voice that rushes in with advice, but as the monk, the witness, the warmth. Sit beside him, say nothing, just be. Let the boy cry. Let the child ache. Let all the old tears finally find their way to the surface. Tears you weren't allowed to shed. Emotions you were told to hide. Longings that were too tender to be spoken aloud. Let them rise. Let them move. Let them be met by presence instead of pressure. You don't need the right words. You only need to stay. And you are. You're here now, with the version of yourself that once felt forgotten. And in this moment, nothing is forgotten. Every sigh, every tear, every unmet need has been waiting for this return. This is healing. Not loud, not dramatic, but quiet, like a hand on your back, like a gaze that does not look away. There is no shame in needing comfort. There is no weakness in wanting to be held. There is only truth. And the truth is, you deserved this kind of love long ago. The kind that asks for nothing. The kind that stays through the storm. The kind that says, you don't have to be perfect to be loved. Say it now. Whisper it to that younger you. You don't have to be perfect to be loved. Say it again, so they can believe it. So you can believe it. You don't have to be perfect to be loved. Let the tears come. Let the soft breath return. Let the weight on your chest begin to lift. You've carried that child your whole life, and tonight, you've finally turned to face them, to hold them, to say, I see you, and I will never abandon you again. This is the beginning of trust, not with others, with yourself, with the part of you that waited patiently for someone to come back. And now, you're here. There's no need to explain why the boy cried. No need to sort through the past to find logic. The tears were enough. The ache was real. The silence was sacred. And now you've broken that silence with presence. And presence is the highest form of love. Let yourself soften. Feel your jaw release. Feel your hands open. Feel your heart loosen its grip on everything it thought it had to hold all alone. You were never meant to be so alone. You were never meant to be so quiet in your pain. But what wasn't given then you give now. And that changes everything. Let your inner child rest. Let them fall asleep with your warmth beside them. Let them dream not of fear, but of safety. Let them be little. Let them be held. Let them belong. And in doing so, so do you. You belong. Even in your sadness. Even in your softness. Even when you feel too much or not enough, you are not too late to give yourself what you needed. You are not too far gone to return to that child and whisper, I love you, exactly as you are. Say it. Say it once. Say it forever. I love you, exactly as you are. Not after you're healed. Not after you've succeeded. Not after the shame has disappeared. But now, here, curled up in a corner, with tears still drying on your face. This is love. Soft, silent, unmoving. And now, this love is yours. Breathe, and let that breath rock you gently, as if you are being cradled by the universe itself, by every kind voice you ever needed but never heard now alive inside you. You are not alone. You are not alone. You are not alone. Let those words become the lullaby you were missing. Let them wrap around your body like the warmth you always deserved. And as you fall into sleep, know this: the crying boy is no longer alone in the corner. He is seen. He is held. He is safe. Because you came back. Because you stayed. Because real love never needs to be earned. It only needs to be remembered. And now, you remember. Sleep now, with the boy at peace. Sleep now, with yourself at peace. Soft now. The night continues. But the ache has softened, and the love remains. You've tried to get it right. Tried to say the right words. Think the right thoughts. Feel the right emotions. Live the right life. You've tried to be spiritual, to be good, to be wise, to be healed. And somewhere along the way, you became tired. Not the kind of tired that sleep alone can fix, but the deep kind. The soul tiredness that comes from trying too hard to become something you already are. Tonight, we set that weight down, not with rebellion, but with reverence. Let me tell you a story. There was once a master who lived in a quiet temple surrounded by pine trees and silence. His students studied night and day, chanted ancient texts, copied scriptures by candlelight, meditated with disciplined breath, perfect posture, perfect focus. They were searching for truth, for enlightenment, for the keys to something sacred. One evening, as the wind whispered through the courtyard, the master walked into the prayer hall. His arms were filled with books. Not ordinary books, the sacred texts, the teachings passed down for generations. He placed them gently in the center of the room, and then, to the horror of his students, he lit a match. The flame danced in his fingers, then dropped onto the pages. The fire caught quickly, ancient wisdom curling into smoke. The students rushed forward, shouting, "Master, what are you doing? These are the teachings. This is everything." But the master did not flinch. He watched the flames rise with a soft, knowing gaze. And when he spoke, his voice was calm. When words become walls, he said, "Burn them." The students stood frozen, not in anger but in something deeper, recognition. The master looked at them, one by one, his eyes not hard, but free. "Truth is not in the words," he said. "It's in the silence between them. Freedom is not in the form, it's in the fire." And then he sat, cross-legged beside the fire. No fear, no regret, only stillness, only peace. Let that image stay with you now, the flame and the quiet beside it. Because this story is not about destroying wisdom. It's about releasing the need to hold it too tightly. You've studied enough, searched enough, tried hard enough. You are not here to earn rest. You are here to return to it. Sleep does not come to the one who performs. It comes to the one who surrenders. And surrender begins when we stop needing to know, to control, to define, to perfect. You've built walls out of beautiful ideas, out of spiritual phrases, out of identities that once felt sacred but now feel heavy. I am awakening. I am healing. I am this. I am that. And somewhere along the path, you forgot how to just be. So tonight, we burn the scriptures. Not the ones in the world, the ones in you, the expectations, the beliefs, the striving to become something better. Take a breath and imagine all the words you've held like armor, all the labels you've clung to for meaning. Place them gently into the fire. Watch them curl and fade, not in anger, not in fear, but in freedom. You are not your practice. You are not your progress. You are not even your healing. You are something quieter, something softer, something older than any scripture. You are what was here before the words, and what remains after they are gone. Let that truth enter your body now. Feel it like warm wind through an open window. No more needing to be enlightened. No more needing to arrive. No more needing to prove that you are on the path. You are the path, and the path has no destination. Only presence, only this breath, only this stillness. You don't need the perfect mantra. You don't need the perfect posture. You don't need the perfect state of mind. You need only to be here, as you are, without trying to be anything more. Close your eyes and sit beside the fire. Let the ashes rise. Let the effort fall. Let even your thoughts begin to drift away like smoke on the breeze. The Master burned the books not to destroy truth but to reveal it, to show that truth was never in the paper, never in the words. It was always in the quiet, in the sitting, in the being. You have been enough from the very beginning, and now you remember. You do not need another answer tonight. You do not need another technique. You do not need another version of yourself to believe in. You are allowed to be empty. Empty of names, empty of stories, empty of the pressure to grow or change or improve. You are not here to climb. You are here to fall into the soft arms of what you already are, into the deep silence that loves you without needing you to be wise or good or ready. You are ready now because you are here. Let the fire burn what no longer serves. Let the lightness rise as identity fades. Not because you lost yourself, but because you stopped mistaking yourself for everything you've carried. You are not the seeker. You are not the path. You are the space that holds them both. And that space is vast and silent and free. Sleep comes not through mastery but through surrender. So surrender now. Lay down the scroll. Lay down the striving. Lay down even the need to understand what this means. You don't need to know. You only need to feel. Feel the soft hum beneath your skin. Feel the warmth at the edges of your chest. That's you. Without the performance. Without the pressure. Just you. As presence, as breath, as being. You've tried so hard to find your way. But tonight, you do not have to search. You only have to sit like the Master, like the flame. Still, bright, free. Breathe in. Let the breath rise without reason. Breathe out. Let it fall without control. Again and again. Until the mind grows quiet. Until the soul feels light. Until nothing is left but this beautiful open emptiness. You've been enough all along. No scripture can give you that. No thought can replace it. It lives in the quiet you carry. It speaks in the breath you forget to hear. It rises when all else has burned away. And so now you rest. Not because the work is done, but because the need to work has faded. Not because you've arrived, but because you were never anywhere else. You do not need to keep reaching. You are allowed to sleep, beside the fire, beside the truth, beside the part of you that is never needed to be anything more than what you are right now. The scriptures are ash. The mind is soft. The silence is sacred. And you are home. There is a part of you that fears the crash, the moment when things fall apart, when the story ends, when everything you've held onto slips back into the sea. You feel it sometimes, that edge, that pull, that trembling sense that something inside you is nearing the end of itself, and you brace, you tense, you try to hold your shape, but the truth is, you were never meant to stay a wave. You were always meant to remember the ocean. Let me tell you a story, one older than any scripture, one told not with ink but with water. There once was a wave born in the deep. It rose from the ocean like breath, like song, like a child lifted into the air. It danced, it sparkled, it tasted the sky, and for a while, it believed it was only that, only a wave, only its shape, its speed, its surface. But one day the wave looked ahead and saw the shore. It saw other waves crashing, disappearing, dissolving into foam, and fear took hold. What will happen to me? It whispered. If I crash, do I cease to be? The wave tried to resist, tried to hold back, tried to stay tall and separate and safe. But the shore came closer, and the wave began to tremble, until a quiet voice rose from deep within, not from the sky, not from another wave, but from the still place beneath its surface. You are not the wave, it said. You are the ocean. The wave stilled. For a moment, it did not understand, but then it felt it. It felt the vastness beneath it, the power within it, the stillness that did not rise or fall but simply was. The wave realized it had never been separate, not for a moment. It was the ocean playing. The crash was not an end but a return, and in that knowing, it softened. It let go, not in despair but in peace, and as it reached the shore, the wave did not break. It became the sea, became the whole, became what it had always been, but had forgotten. Now breathe, because this wave is you. You rise, you move, you live with shape and motion, and you fear the crashing moments, the endings, the letting go, the dissolving. But those fears belong to the surface. Beneath them is something wider, something older, something always at peace. You are not just this shape you hold, not just your name, not just this season of your life, not just the thoughts that rise and fall. You are the ocean, the stillness beneath it all, the breath before the breath, the calm beneath the motion. Let that knowing sink into you. You don't have to hold on so tight. You don't have to fear the change. You don't have to resist what is already moving in you. The wave does not stop the tide, and yet it is never lost, because to dissolve is not to disappear. It is to return to what holds you, to what you've always been. You are not alone in your crashing. You are not broken by your softening. You are being carried back to the truth that you belong to something whole, and that wholeness lives inside you. You don't need to protect yourself from being undone, because what is real in you cannot be undone. Your fears will rise, yes. Your questions will stir, yes. But the ocean remains, calm, vast, patient, waiting for you to remember. And you are remembering now. Each breath takes you deeper. Each breath brings you closer, not to answers but to presence, not to certainty but to peace. Let your body soften. Let your thoughts drift like foam on the surface, and feel the deep stillness below. You don't need to understand it. You only need to trust that it is there. And it is. Always. Through every crash. Through every rise. Through every soft, sleepy fall. You are not separate from peace. You are peace remembering itself as you. You are not separate from life. You are life watching itself unfold with quiet eyes. You are not separate from truth. You are truth letting go of the illusion that it must be earned. So rest now. The wave has danced long enough. It has carried the light. It has tasted the air. It has done what it came to do. And now it returns. Not as failure, not as loss, but as home. You are safe to dissolve, to sleep, to be held. The ocean does not judge the wave for breaking. It welcomes it, washes over it, folds it back into everything. So let go. Let go of what you think you are. Let go of the story you've carried. Let go of the need to stay standing. You were never just a crest, never just a crash. You are the water that continues, the mystery that remains. You are enough, because you are, and you are not alone. Feel that. Breathe with it, like salt water in your lungs reminding you, this is your nature. Fluid, open, infinite, and always, always returning to stillness. You don't need to rise again tonight. You don't need to try. Tonight, you are the wave that remembers. And in remembering, you rest. The ocean cradles you, carries you, calls you back. And you go, not with fear, but with peace. Let the crashing happen. Let the form fall. Let the thoughts fade. You are not what ends. You are what begins again. Soft now. The night is deep, and the water is warm. You are held. You are held. You are held. Sleep now, in the arms of what you've always been. No more seeking. No more effort. No more waves. Only ocean. Only breath. Only peace. There are questions that do not want answers. Only presence. Only silence. Only the stillness that comes when the mind finally stops reaching. You've reached long enough. You've chased long enough. You've tried to wrap language around the ineffable. Tried to catch truth like a feather in the wind. But tonight, you are invited to let the wind blow through you, without grasping, without naming, without needing it to be anything but what it is. Let me tell you a story. A student once came to a Zen master, full of discipline, full of ambition, hungry for enlightenment. "Master," he said, "what is the path to truth?" The master looked at him, with eyes as clear as mountain air. He raised one hand, held it in the air, and said, "What is the sound of one hand clapping?" The student blinked, confused, unsure. He bowed, and left. And thus began his koan. A riddle meant not to be solved, but to dissolve the solver. Day after day, he pondered. He listened. He pressed his palms together, then apart. He clapped softly, loudly. He cupped the wind. He searched in dreams, in breath, in silence. What is the sound, he asked himself again and again, of one hand clapping? Weeks passed, then months, and still no answer. Until one evening, exhausted, he sat beneath the old tree outside the temple. The sun was melting into the hills, and the wind carried no answers, only space. And for the first time, he stopped asking. He let the question become a presence instead of a puzzle. He didn't try to solve it. He didn't try to silence it. He simply let it echo, without chasing it, without grasping. And in that moment, something inside him fell away, not in understanding, but in surrender. A great quiet rose up from within, not the silence of absence, but the silence of everything. And for the first time he heard it, not with his ears, not with his thoughts, but with his being, the sound of one hand clapping. And it said nothing. And it was everything. This story is not for your mind. It is for your surrender. You too have been searching, reaching, wrestling your thoughts into neat rows, trying to line up the perfect realization so you can finally sleep. But sleep does not come to the one who wrestles. It comes to the one who lets go. Let go now. Not of thinking, but of needing thinking to lead you somewhere. Let the thoughts be clouds. Let the silence be sky. Let the question exist without conclusion. There is nothing to solve, only something to soften into. You are not here to figure it out. You are here to dissolve into the question until only presence remains. What is the sound of one hand clapping? You won't find it by clapping. You won't find it by resisting. You won't find it by listening too hard. You will find it only when there is no one left to search. No seeker, no riddle, no grasping. Just this breath. This mystery that asks nothing but your surrender. Breathe with it, not to change it, not to calm it, just to be inside it. Soft breath in, soft breath out. Let the sound arise not in the air but in the space between. The sound of one hand clapping is not a sound. It is the end of needing sound, the end of needing meaning. It is what remains when you stop filling the silence and just listen with your being, with your stillness. You are not behind. You are not lost. You are simply between what the mind can grasp and what the soul already knows. So let the mind rest. It has served you. It has searched well. But now it is time to return to what cannot be named. The moment before the thought. The stillness beneath the sound. The vastness that asks for nothing but this, just this. You've held so tightly to identity, to answers, to spiritual shape. But the truth is, the door doesn't open by pushing. It opens when there is no door left at all. And that's what this koan is. A door that disappears when you stop knocking. So stop, be still. Not as a tactic, but as a truth. Not as a method, but as what you already are when all the methods fall away. Feel the echo of the question. Let it circle inside you like moonlight on a lake, and do nothing with it. Just sit, just breathe, just be. Because sleep is not earned. It arrives, like a wave that does not ask if you're ready. It simply carries you, and it will carry you now. You've heard enough, searched enough, asked enough. You've made your way to the edge of what can be known, and now you are free to fall into what simply is. No more trying, no more striving, no more clapping, only the sound of one hand resting. Still, open, at peace, soft now. Let the mind unhook. Let the thoughts loosen. Let even the self begin to drift. You are not fading. You are remembering that you were never separate from stillness, from sleep, from source. Let the koan disappear. Let the seeker fall asleep, and let the night hold you as you are, whole, soundless, complete. You've made it through doors and waves, through silence and sorrow, through teachings you didn't need to understand, only feel. And now, there is nothing left to do. No more questions, no more climbing, no more names to remember or forms to follow. Only this moment, only this breath. only what remains when all else falls away. Let me tell you one final story. A student came to the master, weary from seeking, his eyes tired, his hands full of everything he thought peace would be. He had practiced, he had studied, he had asked the deepest questions and held the most sacred texts, but still he felt far. Still he felt incomplete, and so he asked, "Master, where is peace?" The master smiled, not with his lips but with something deeper, a stillness that filled the room. He did not speak. He simply opened his hands and said, "When you stop dividing, you'll see." The student paused, confused, but then he began to feel it. Not an answer, but a soft unraveling. Something inside him let go. He stopped dividing. Between right and wrong, between here and there, between self and silence, between the seeker and the truth he sought. And suddenly the walls were gone, not just around him, but within him. No more boundaries between the breath and the sky, between the thought and the wind, between the hand and what it reached for. Everything became one room, one presence, one unfolding awareness. And peace was not found, it was remembered, because it had never left. Let this be your room now, the room with no walls, the space beneath identity, beneath effort, beneath time. You don't have to build anything here. You don't have to earn this stillness. You only have to stop dividing. Stop separating the sacred from the ordinary. Stop separating the breath from the moment. Stop separating yourself from what is. There is no you who must enter this room. You are the room. You are the space that holds everything without needing to hold anything. Even now, you may feel the walls beginning to dissolve, the edges of your body softening into the air, the stories in your mind slowing like a river meeting open sea. Let it happen. Let yourself melt into something wider, something still, something whole. There is no past in this room, no future to calculate, no unfinished business. Only now, only breath, only presence that does not require your participation, only your permission. And you have given it. You've come all this way, not to arrive, but to realize there was never anything but this open-handed peace, this sky without ceiling, this floorless, roofless space where your soul can finally exhale. Breathe. Let the breath take up all the room at once. Let it stretch out like light at dawn. Let it carry nothing but itself. You've done enough. There is no final test. No sacred word you must whisper. No posture you must maintain. Only being. Only now. Only the soft dissolving of all that stood between you and peace. What does it feel like to stop separating? To stop placing labels on every thought, every feeling, every part of yourself? It feels like this. Like resting without needing a reason. Like belonging without trying to fit in. Like love that asks for nothing in return. There is nothing in this room but space. And space makes no demands. It welcomes. It holds. It lets be. Let yourself lie down now. In this room with no walls. No memories pressing in. No future pulling you out. Just here. Just breath. Just stillness. And feel what it's like to be complete. Not because everything is fixed, but because nothing needs fixing. Not because you've become perfect, but because the idea of perfection has dissolved. There is no mirror in this room. No need to check how you appear. No need to prove your presence. You are presence. You are the open sky. You are the quiet earth. You are the warmth between the stars. And all is well. Not because you've earned it, but because you've allowed it. You've stopped dividing. And now there is only one thing left: to rest. Let your breath fall into the groundless floor. Let your body loosen into the shapeless now. There are no teachings left. No more words. Only this moment sinking deeper into itself. You are not holding sleep. Sleep is holding you. Like the sky holds the clouds. Like silence holds the last bell. Like peace holds the final thought before it fades. Let the thought fade. Let even your name fade. Not in fear, but in joy. Joy that you are no longer outside the truth trying to get in. You are in. You are it. You are peace in a room that cannot close, that never began, that never ends. This is the room without walls, where silence does not feel empty, it feels full, where your heart no longer needs to be protected because there is nothing to protect it from, where stillness is not a practice, it is what you are when you stop pretending to be anything else. This is the room where the Master opened his hands and said, "When you stop dividing, you'll see." And you do. Now, you do. So sleep, softly, fully, with no edges left to defend, with no thoughts left to chase. Only this moment, only this space, only this unbroken sky stretching across the inside of everything. You are not dreaming, you are returning to the place that was never away. You are home, and the room without walls will hold you all night. No need to knock, no need to earn, no need to ask. You are already inside, and there is nothing left to find, nothing left to do, nothing left to be. Only peace, only sleep, only the breath of the universe breathing you back into stillness. Soft now, the night has become your final koan, and the answer is this silence. Complete, spacious, home. The monastery fades, not with force, but with gentleness. Its wooden beams dissolve into air. Its lanterns flicker once, then rest. Its bells stop ringing. Even the floor beneath your feet becomes sky. And still you remain. Because what you are was never the walls, never the rituals, never the robes or names. You are what stayed when everything else was set down. You are not the path. You are the ground beneath it, the wind through it, the breath that walked it. And now you bow, not as an ending, but as a return. A soft surrender of everything you no longer need to carry. This is the final chapter, the soft closing of the temple doors. The exhale after a lifetime of effort, and it is holy. But before we bow, remember, let the journey rise in you one more time. Not to think about it, but to feel what it became inside you. You began with exhaustion, a heart too full, a mind too loud, a body worn by invisible battles. And so you walked through the door you didn't know you needed, and you were welcomed. Not with answers, but with silence. You laid down the story that said you had to hold it all. And then came the second arrow. You remembered how much pain you added to your own pain, through guilt, through shame, through the sharpness of your own mind turning against you. But that night, you forgave yourself, not for breaking, but for being human. You dropped the second arrow, and your soul began to unclench. Then came the cup, so full there was no space left for stillness. The Master poured tea until it overflowed, and you realized you had been overfilled with striving, with opinions, with noise. You needed to empty, to let the space inside you become sacred again. Then came the mountain path, the horse that wouldn't move, and you saw yourself in its stillness, the part of you that couldn't go forward no matter how much you tried. And the monk didn't push, he sat. And so you sat too, with your resistance, with your pause, with your breath, and slowly, something began to move again, but not through force, through presence. Then the sacred bowl shattered, and with it, your memory of the things you've broken, the regrets you buried, the shame you carried in silence. You learned that broken does not mean forsaken. The Master said, "Let it return to the earth." And you did. You let the past become soil, and something inside you began to bloom. Then came the crying boy, the child you once were, sitting in the corner of the temple, tears he didn't understand, longing he couldn't explain. And this time, someone sat beside him, not to fix, not to question, but just to stay. And so you stayed, with the part of you that waited all this time to be held. And then the fire. The Master burned the scriptures, the books, the methods, the striving. When words become walls, he said, burn them. And you did. You laid down your spiritual performance, your need to get it right, your attachment to the identity of the seeker. And what remained was a kind of stillness you had never known before. It didn't ask, it didn't declare, it simply was, and that was enough. Then came the wave, afraid to crash, but it remembered it was not separate. It was the ocean in temporary motion. And so are you. You don't need to hold shape forever. You are not the crashing. You are the water that remains after everything else returns home. And finally, you entered the room with no walls. You stopped dividing, stopped naming, stopped separating yourself from the space that holds you. And the question disappeared. You were no longer someone looking for peace. You were peace that remembered itself. And now, there is nothing left but the bow, not the kind that bends the body, the kind that dissolves the self. The monk stands beneath moonlight, hands at his sides, robes soft with age, the floor beneath him no longer made of wood or stone but stillness. And without words, he bows, not to a master, not to a teaching, not to an achievement. He bows to the silence, to the great mystery, to the truth that can never be spoken, only lived by letting everything else go. And you bow with him, not because you understand, but because you are ready to be held by what cannot be known. This is the final surrender. So breathe, and with each breath bow. Bow to the part of you that tried so hard. Bow to the part of you that broke. Bow to the part of you that waited quietly for this night to come. Bow to the silence, to the love that never left, to the peace that was never elsewhere. Let it all go. There is no more temple, no more teacher, no more name to live up to. Only now, only sleep, only the breath that holds the entire universe inside its rise and fall. Let yourself fall now, not into darkness but into lightness. The monastery fades, the stories rest, the voice becomes the wind. You are not broken, you are not late. You are the quiet between all things. And now, you may rest. There is no more work to do, no more healing to chase, no more truths to force. You are the room, you are the fire, you are the bowl, you are the ocean, you are the breath, you are the silence that never needed a beginning or an end. And now, you let go of even that. You become the exhale that does not return. You become the sleep that does not ask permission. No more holding on, no more bracing, no more trying to fall asleep. You are already sleeping. Even if the eyes are open, your soul has bowed. Even if thoughts remain, they will pass, like clouds through a midnight sky. And beneath them, you remain. Still, held, whole. Sleep now, not as a reward but as a reunion. You have bowed, and the universe bows back. And now, the final breath. Soft, empty, enough.